the headlines of this hour on VTV News. Vietnam and the U.S. to further strengthen bilateral relations and enhance cooperation. And later on, Vietnam's economy shows strong growth amid global challenges.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is currently 8 a.m. local time and you're tuning in to 15 minutes of VTV News. I'm Nilin Lei with the latest updates. Now on the top news of this hour, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, along with a U.S. delegation sent by President Joe Biden, came to offer incense on the evening of July the 27th to pay tribute to General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam Central Committee Nguyễn Phú Trọng and extend condolences to the late leader's spouse and his family at their residence in Hanoi. The U.S. official conveyed President Joe Biden's condolences to the family on the passing of General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, emphasizing that the leaders and officials of the U.S. government, as well as President Biden himself, always regarded General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng as a friend and trusted partner. With his vision and under his leadership, the friendship and relations between the two countries were nurtured and developed robustly, reaching the highest level of comprehensive strategic partnership today. Also, during his trip to Vietnam, after visiting and offering incense in tribute to Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was welcomed by Vietnamese State President Tô Lâm. Vietnamese Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính also received the U.S. Secretary of State on the same day. More in the following.
On behalf of Vietnamese party and state leaders, the state president hosted a reception in Hanoi for U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who came to Vietnam to offer condolences and pay tribute to the late General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam Central Committee Nguyễn Phú Trọng. Secretary Blinken personally expressed his sorrow over the loss of a visionary leader and valued the Party General Secretary's contributions to strengthening Vietnam-U.S. relations and the friendship between the two countries' people. He expressed confidence that both sides will continue to uphold and nurture Vietnam-U.S. relations, strengthening the friendship between the two peoples according to the late Party General Secretary's wishes. The Vietnamese state president reaffirmed that Vietnam considers the U.S. a top strategic partner and welcomes the U.S. continued commitment to supporting a strong, independent, resilient and prosperous Vietnam. He expressed the desire to closely coordinate in fulfilling the commitments of the Party General Secretary and the U.S. President to deepen and stabilize the new framework of relations.
On the same day, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính also received U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. At the meeting, the Vietnamese Prime Minister welcomed the U.S. comprehensive and responsible engagement in the Asia-Pacific and Indian Ocean regions and the U.S. continued support for ASEAN's central role, as well as ASEAN and Vietnam's principal stance on the East Sea issue. The U.S. Secretary reiterated the U.S. support for a strong, independent, resilient, and prosperous Vietnam, its expanded international integration, and its increasingly significant role in ASEAN, the region, and global cooperation in addressing challenges.
Also on the same day, during a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Vietnamese Foreign Minister Bùi Thanh Sơn affirmed that Vietnam considers the United States a partner of top strategic importance and emphasized the need to continue implementing the commitments to effectively and substantially implement the Vietnam-U.S. Joint Declaration and Action Plan in 2023.
Chairman of the National Assembly Trần Thanh Mẫn commended the Vietnam General Confederation of Labor VGCL for its significant contributions to the nation's great revolutionary victory during its 95-year history at a ceremony held in Hanoi on Sunday to honor outstanding trade union leaders at the grassroots level. He emphasized that the acceleration of industrialization and modernization, as well as deep international integration, presents the trade union with both opportunities and challenges. So enterprises and workers should make continuous efforts to enhance their labor productivity, management capacity, and competitiveness. He added that the VGCL must undergo strong and comprehensive reforms to comply with labor commitments in new generation free trade agreements, affirming its key role in building a modern and strong working class. Continue on with our latest updates. So far this year, Vietnam's economy has shown positive growth, exceeding forecasts. It is on track to achieve a positive growth rate for the entire year. However, challenges remain for the second half of the year. Strengthening all internal economic factors is crucial to maintaining this momentum in the coming months. Take a look.
The service sector is expected to be a bright spot in the economy from now until the year end, with an impressive growth rate of 6.64% in the first half. Increased domestic demand and a strong recovery of international visitors have also boosted the economy aggregate demand.
We've been seeing quite a lot of good numbers in Vietnam, but I think one thing we also need to keep in mind is that in ASEAN, the region, Vietnam is really facing intensifying regional competition in terms of attracting tourists.
Domestic demand has gradually recovered to pre-pandemic levels, while inflation has remained under control. Operating interest rates were maintained at a level lower than at the end of 2023, contributing to macroeconomic stability. There is also a condition to attract long-term investment capital flows into Vietnam.
Overall business sentiment is remain very positive, reflecting the continued confidence of European investor in Vietnam based on Vietnam economic fundamentals.
However, the Asian Development Bank is cautious about global geopolitical instability, volatile raw materials, freight rates, and high interest rates in many markets. These factors are putting pressure on global and regional inflation. As a result, production and consumption costs are likely to increase until the end of the year, requiring proactive and flexible management of monetary and fiscal policies.
SBB did a very good job in terms of maintaining its monetary policy during a challenging time, maintaining a prudent monetary policy, balancing the need for growth with the need to contain inflation. That's why we saw subdued inflation last year in 2023 and yet a 5% plus growth in GDP, which was one of the highest in the region.
According to international organizations, this year's GDP target is feasible, but it depends on news from the global economy. Therefore, it is necessary to continue promoting public investment disbursement to strengthen trade, consumption, and private investment. These measures should be accompanied by promoting new drivers of the economy, including artificial intelligence, digitalization, and the green economy. These areas will create room for long-term development.
Moving on to other news, 4 earthquakes ranging from magnitude 3.3 to 5 struck Kon Piong district in Kon Tum province on Sunday. The most powerful tremor was felt in many localities. 2 quakes measuring 5 and 4.1 on the Richter scale occurred around noon, while the other 2 slightly rattled Kon Tum in the morning. Many residents in Kon Tum as well as nearby Bình Định and Phie provinces in south-central Vietnam reported feeling the vibrations from the magnitude 5 earthquake. On Monday and Tuesday, northern Vietnam will continue to experience heavy rain. Rainfall in the mountainous areas will range between 50 and 150 millimeters, with some places exceeding 250 millimeters. In the deltas, rainfall will range from 30 to 100 millimeters, with some areas reaching over 150 millimeters. There is a high risk of flooding in low-lying and urban areas, as well as flash floods and landslides in mountainous regions. It is forecast that flood levels will exceed alert level 3 by 60 centimeters. Some of Hanoi's peripheral districts, such as Quốc Oai, Thạch Thất, Trường Mỹ, and Mỹ Đức, are expected to face prolonged flooding. The rain has stopped in Sơn La province, but the water has accumulated so much that many villages are still isolated and submerged. Meanwhile, a new wave of rain and floods is forecast to hit the province. Local authorities are urgently evacuating people from flooded areas.
Phie village, Sơn La city, has never experienced floods that came as quickly and heavily as they did this year. The flood came at night, catching more than 30 households by surprise, leaving them with only enough time to escape.
Last night, the whole village ran away from the flood. This year, the floods have lasted longer and risen higher and faster.
Over the past 2 days, task forces in Sơn La province have been mobilized to search for and rescue missing victims.
We started from 3 a.m. and quickly gathered to help people transport goods and minimize the damage caused by floods.
For areas where floodwaters cannot be immediately drained, we will encourage people to move to the cultural house to stay for a while. In the long term, the city will find a solution to drain the water.
Sơn La provincial leaders have mobilized forces to urgently assist in the area to help people overcome storms and floods. They are evacuating people and property, ensuring temporary accommodation, and developing support plans for affected households.
In addition to financial support for local people, we also find new accommodation, have built houses and locate resettlement sites.
Currently, the province is urgently compiling damage statistics to provide the further support to affected households.
The Vietnam Summer Camp 2024 wrapped up on Sunday in Ho Chi Minh City, concluding the 16-day journey filled with diverse activities. The closing ceremony, organized by the State Committee for Overseas Vietnamese Affairs under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, was attended by the Ho Chi Minh City Department of Foreign Affairs, the Thủ Đức Youth Village, and nearly 120 young overseas Vietnamese from 28 countries and territories, along with.
The Vietnam Summer Camp 2024 was a resounding success, making a profound impact on both the young overseas Vietnamese participants and the communities they encountered. The program fostered stronger connections among the overseas Vietnamese youths, creating meaningful interactions and lasting memories.
The summer camp provided new opportunities for participants to connect with fellow Vietnamese origin friends from around the world, thereby strengthening bonds and building a more cohesive and united Vietnamese community abroad.
During their journey through 13 provinces and cities, the young overseas Vietnamese gained valuable insights into the country's history, culture, people, and landscapes. They honored Vietnam's heroic mothers and martyrs and participated in charitable activities, enhancing their connection to and affection for their homeland.
I gained a profound understanding of Vietnamese history, made friends from across the globe who share the same roots, and gained deeper insights into the culture. This summer camp has filled me with pride in my Vietnamese identity.
I just love how kind the Vietnamese people are to others, especially the tourists, and that we can connect very well. And it's just very interesting how we are this group.
This year's Vietnam Summer Camp continued to serve as a bridge between young overseas Vietnamese and their homeland. The experience was profoundly emotional for the participants, inspiring them to embrace their Vietnamese identity with renewed dedication and to strive for excellence in their future endeavors.
Up next, before we say goodbye, let's have a look at the weather forecast. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website, our YouTube channel, or download a mobile app, VTVgo, for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.